Not addressing the nation, addressing the world. Cole Stangler is here with the business news now. Cole, you're starting with this fire news to stop the tyre maker Bridgestone from closing its factory in northern France.
That's right, Stuart. Last week's announcement from the firm stunning a lot of people, really. It's also left unions and government officials scrambling to find a solution in an area that's been hit hard by deindustrialization. As it stands, all 863 workers would lose their jobs if the closure goes through. Bridgestone says it's unavoidable due to market conditions and low-cost competition, but the French government hopes to convince them otherwise. Aaron Gunke reports.
Uncertainty now hovers over the future for 863 employees of a Bridgestone tire factory in northern France. Just days after the Japanese company announced plans to shut the plant, the French government is weighing alternative options.
I think what's very important is that in the current period, the government will fight to save jobs more so than ever. This site is about skills that are scarce, industrial skills. These are skilled jobs, and obviously we can't afford to. We won't let these skills be lost.
The Japanese company claims an oversaturated tire market and low-cost competition have crippled the site's profitability. Unions, however, point out that Bridgestone made 2.5 billion euros in profits in 2019. Critics add that this is just the latest in a series of site closures and mass layoffs to hit the country's north in particular, and with the French government's blessing.
For 20 years, I've seen companies around my hometown close. I can mention some of them: Magneti, Marelli, Honeywell, Whirlpool, of course, Goodyear for tires, Continental, which went to Romania. I have the impression that this history repeats itself eternally, and they do so with the complicity of politicians.
This time around, Paris has asked consulting firm Accenture to carry out an in-depth study of different options to save jobs. Among the possibilities Bridgestone has not yet ruled out, keeping the site open to produce a different product with higher demand. A series of 10 negotiation sessions aimed at obtaining a solution are scheduled to run from early October to next February.
Now, meanwhile, a judge in the US has given the thumbs up to Tiffany. Now, this is to go ahead with a fast-track lawsuit against the French luxury giant LVMH.
That's right, LVMH had actually agreed to acquire the American jewelry maker for just over $16 billion. That was before the pandemic. LVMH has since tried to walk away from the takeover with the recession, but also trade tensions between the US and France complicating things. Tiffany, for its part, wants the French firm to stick to the terms of their agreement. Trial is now set to begin in January. It's time to look now at some of the day's trading action. While European indexes are in positive territory to start the morning here, as you can see there, the FTSE and the CAC both up around 0.4%. Gains also on the DAX in Frankfurt, stymieing those health concerns and fears of a further lockdown measures. Markets really disproving those fears there. Now, over in Asia, we saw the Nikkei close for public holiday, but we also did see losses across the major indexes. A very different story from on the European market shares. On the Hang Seng, down almost 1%. The Kospi in Seoul down more than 2% there. Korean airline shares were down over 2%.
Now, next up, the future of the video app TikTok in the US. It's looking more and more uncertain, this, isn't it?
That's right. Under a deal brokered over the weekend, American firms Oracle and Walmart would have a stake in a new global TikTok. But that agreement is already coming under fire. According to Chinese state-backed newspaper Global Times, it's unlikely Beijing will greenlight the deal. While over in Washington, President Donald Trump said he hadn't given his final approval yet, all the while praising the CEO of Oracle for his negotiating efforts. Take a listen.
Given a preliminary okay, they will work at two great companies, Oracle and Walmart. Larry Ellison's a great genius at that kind of thing. The technology is incredible, and so if we can save it, we'll save it, and if we can't, we'll cut it off.
And finally, a major new deal to keep things running in Hollywood. Film studios and unions representing some 350,000 employees have reached a new labor agreement. It's designed specifically for the era of COVID. It covers issues like testing, equipment, and paid sick leave for people working on sets. Observers also it'll help clear up a bottleneck in the industry. Until now, unions had been approving projects on an individual basis over safety concerns. Stuart, just maybe, this will be a much-needed shot in the arm for Hollywood. It should be said, filming levels in LA still just around half of where they were before the pandemic.
At least we'll have something to watch once we can go to the cinema here in France at the moment. There's many countries, of course, where you can't at all. Thank you. very much. Cole Stangler with the business on France 24. Now it's time to take a look at what